Yes, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay. Yeah, I'll share my screen. Yeah. Is it visible now?
Yes, sir.
Okay. How about now?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Fine, sir. Yes.
Sure. So last week, we discussed about Amazon AWS. So maybe you guys would have gone through GCP and Azure as well. If you are not gone through Azure and GCP, please go through that and try to compare three platforms, how they are differing, what are the features, what is the costing, then what are the services involved. Maybe you can go through in detail and have a, as Pradeep sir mentioned, maybe you can have a survey on those platforms and list out the differences. Okay. So today, we'll go through Aneka. So if you are having any questions, you can interrupt me in between. Until then, I'll be just, going ahead. Okay. Yeah. So I think already, theoretical part of the Aneka has been covered by Pradeep sir. So let us, brush up the, things and, we'll go ahead with the demo. So, okay. So when it comes to Aneka, actually, it is from the CloudBus toolkit. So you can ask, what is the CloudBus toolkit? CloudBus is a collection of technologies which are related to cloud computing. So I think it is from one of the organizations in Australia where they have set up a lab, and all the R&D, all the application softwares they are releasing with respect to cloud computing. So this cloud bus comprises of many things like cloud sim, then meta broker Aneka, then workflow engine, all those things. For example, simulation tools for cloud-based environments is done through cloud sim. You can use the cloud sim for all the simulations related to cloud environment. Then Aneka can be used for middleware for cloud computing applications. Then market-based resource brokering and allocation algorithms and technologies for efficient VM. So just think that it can be a kind of simulation. Also, you can use your own private network, whatever available, whatever the resources you are having. Maybe you can use those things and set up a either private cloud entirely, or you can also include some of the public clouds available like AWS, then Google cloud platform, then Azure as well. So that if you want to host any of the applications which are consuming resources, all the load will be distributed between these resources. You can plan those things using Aneka. Okay. Yeah. Then Aneka is a middleware for developing cloud computing flexible and scalable applications. So here there are three things. First one is middleware. So you can ask a question like, what is the middleware? So middleware is something which will sit between your hardware and OS, then the applications. Okay. So like all the interactions between your application and OS and hardware, will be through this middleware. Then computing flexible and scalable applications. So first one is flexible. Flexible means in terms of resources. Maybe like if it is a very small application, you might not require huge memory or huge computing power. Sometimes what will happen, like based on the like load, it might increase or it might decrease. So your application or your the platform should be flexible enough to support the requirements dynamically. So that is flexibility. Then scalable. Scalable means, today you might have hosted one applications today, maybe 100 users are there. Maybe, after a month, or say after 2 months, maybe 1,000 users are using the applications, and think that it goes viral, and lakhs of users are coming and using your application. In that case, scalability will become a problem if it is a, if you are using a limited resources. That in that particular case, your cloud, should support the scalability. Actually, with Aneka, we can do all these things. Yeah. So what does Aneka does? For example, I need a harness uh, a huge computation power for my application. So Aneka provides a runtime environment that manages collective of physical and virtual machines, which are coordinated transparently to application for larger. So it is something like, it uses all the resources which are available. Then, it will give a platform where you can host any of the applications which would require huge computation power. Maybe, if it is not available, all the resources are not available within your premise, maybe you can extend it to public cloud providers as well, like Azure and AWS and GCP. Then I want to develop distributed applications easily. So, if your plan is to come up with application, which is kind of a distributed application in the sense, so it is not running on single machine. So there might be several machines, which are running the application parallelly, and the results are combined, and it will be given for further analysis. Okay. Then I have a limited budget to execute my application. So what if, what if you are not having enough budget to have, like, so much of resources? So I mean, small organizations cannot afford to have, all the infrastructure available for big applications. So in that case, you can use the Aneka. You can connect to public providers. Then, with a limited budget, you can start with your application, and maybe, like, you have to pay, as per your usage. It's not like, for the one time you are you know you are spending a lot on infrastructure. Then I don't care about operating system, platforms, and hardware. Yeah, this is one of the important thing. Aneka provides a portable runtime environment that can be deployed on different operating systems and hardware. So it can be a PC, it can be a cluster, it can be a cloud, it can be a data center, it can be Windows OS, it can be Linux OS. So any of the platform can be part of the Aneka. So, that is the important aspect of the Aneka. Okay. Yeah. So what are the applications, typical applications Aneka can support? Like scientific computing applications, like distributed evolutionary computation, protein structure prediction, medical imaging. I mean, these are some of the applications which are, which are used by some scientific community, and which require huge computational power and memory. Then some of the commercial applications like gaming, uh, train design, rendering, 3D rendering, all those things. For those, again, it requires a lot of infrastructure. So for such applications, Aneka can be used, and for educational applications like image filtering and rendering, distributed system teaching. So, these are some of the typical applications where Aneka can be of great help. Yeah. Then, from where this Aneka word came. So Aneka is a Sanskrit name that means many, or in many ways, or many in one. You can interpret in many ways. Aneka. So this means, like, you have a multiple programming models, multiple application scenarios, multiple deployment models, and multiple platforms and environments. So here many of the things are combined to support your applications. So that is the meaning of Aneka. Architecture. So this is a typical architecture of Aneka, where you are having applications and services on the top layer, then the infrastructure at the lowest layer, then this Aneka platform sits in between. You have like all the service level agreements, quality of service, user management, application management, security, scheduling and execution, monitoring, and all the maintenance and monitor things are involved in the platform. So in the infrastructure level, you have data centers, clusters, PCs, public clouds, etc. So it can consume any of the resources, for the computation purpose. So there is one concept called a container. So container is something, it's a building block of Aneka. So container on its own, it will have many things, like for example, service negotiation, resource allocation, security, communication layer. I mean, all the whatever things are required for processing your say, like algorithm or a logic. So it will happen in a container. So I think in cloud environment like AWS also, or GCP also, you might have come across the word called Kubernetes. So Kubernetes is an example for the container. So that means if you are having an application in a container, it can be run on any of the environments, because like all the environment related things are used in the container. It's you can consider it as a lighter version of your VM. Yeah. Typical services of Aneka includes scheduling services, like basic scheduling services, execution and coordination. For example, if a particular task is failed, again we need to reschedule it, and maybe depending on the logic, some of the programs are scheduled. So like it's something like kind of a coordination job. Okay, that will happen. Then execution service, it's like typical execution. You'll be having some executable files. Those are executed either in batch or in a real-time mode. Then storage services, like for some of the applications you might require disk space, or some other kind of storage. It has to be managed by Aneka. Then your basic security services like authentication, admission control, user profiling, etc. Then management services like logging, resource membership and monitoring, administration, then high availability, all those things. So these are typical services which cloud can manage. Then coming to programming models, it supports distributed and cloud applications. Uh, Aneka application model includes application and unit of work, then runtime services. Okay, I mean these things will cover during programming part. Then task threads and map reduce. These are the basic building blocks of programming in Aneka. Yeah, I mean Aneka has its own security model. I mean security in terms of users, groups, resources. Then permissions are managed. integrity, confidentiality, and availability. Uh, okay, these are the things. Okay, we'll go to, yeah, dynamic provisioning. So Aneka can leverage IaaS solutions to scale on demand and support increased load on the system. So in the last class, we studied like what is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. So this provisioning has to happen dynamically. Suppose one application is running, and as we discussed earlier, it might require some of the resources dynamically. That time, this provisioning will happen based on the request. What Aneka will do, Aneka will verify if it can accommodate the request. 99.99% it should accommodate, because as it is a cloud environment, I mean that is the that is the advantage of cloud. So it will check in which node or which data center that particular infrastructure is available, and it will make sure that particular infrastructure will be assigned to the request. So that is dynamic provisioning. I mean, it will happen based on certain policies, like for that particular infrastructure, some cost is assigned, and some security checks will be there. Then uh, there are certain policies, like for certain kind of applications, you can use certain kind of infrastructure. So, I mean, this kind of policies, it has to check before assigning that particular infrastructure to application. Yeah. Okay. So, these are some basic things about Aneka. Then we'll go to the Aneka demo. Any questions so far?
No questions, sir. You can proceed, sir.
Okay, okay. Yeah. So, what I can, what I can urge is maybe like, you guys can install the latest Aneka Management Studio. I think it is version 5, I guess. Yeah, version 5. So this Aneka UI manager you can download, and you can install. Then once you install, it appears like this. So welcome to Aneka Cloud from Management Studio. You can quickly set up new computing cloud spanning over physical and virtual nodes. So with this, what you can do, you can go on adding the machines. So for example, for my default, you can add your own machine, like wherever it is running, you can add that machine. So for example, right now, so I'm having this Windows machine, then 9000 port used for this Aneka. Then the group is default. You can add local host, host or IP name, then credentials. So no credentials are there. I'll show you how to okay. Consider the host name, localhost, external machine. Okay. So what it is telling is, instead of localhost, you can give some other name, so that from the remote machine, you can easily identify. Okay. So once I add a machine, it will come in access denied allocated. Okay. Since we are not given any credentials, so access will be denied. So here we can give the credentials. Link credentials is there. So here, So all your credentials will appear in machine credentials. So Skycliff, I mean, it is telling that it's invalid user. Let me check. Skycliff IT. Sorry, think should be like this. Yeah, I can link the credentials. So I'm attaching this credential. Yeah. So once you attach the credential, so it is coming in uninstalled allocated. So earlier it was access denied because the credentials were not correct, or credentials were not given. It was coming in access denied. So once you give the credentials, uh, it is uninstalled and allocated, uninstalled and not allocated. Okay. So I mean, here the resource is available, but still it is not used. That means what you have to do, you have to go and install the daemon. So actually, like what Aneka does is, for every resource, in every say a desktop or a data center workstation, whatever, so it will run the daemon program. So actually there are two things. One is your master node. The other nodes are called worker nodes. So master node, will coordinate everything. This coordination will happen only through this daemon program. Yeah, we need to install daemon. So here install is there. So here, like by default it will use port 9000. Uh, so here only one option is there. So you have to start installing the daemon. So all the settings, you'll get it here. Okay, finish. Uh, maybe because of some permission things, it may not install in my machine. We will see that. Yeah, it got installed, it seems. Yeah, now you can see it here installed, right? 12 cores are there, CPU speed 24 gigahertz, memory, then disk. Okay, so it got installed. So here, like what will happen now, like since there is only one machine, so it is displaying only one row. If if you are installing multiple machines in some remote machines, all the machines, all the resources will come here. Hope you got it. Then you can also okay, this is one part. Then what you can do, you can also, if you want to add some of the resources from, say, Uh, See, Azure is there, then EC2 is there, CoGrid is there, Xenpool is there. So maybe you can add some of the infrastructure from the public cloud also. In case if you're not having enough resources in your premise, you can go for additional resources from the public providers. So this is also one of the benefit. So suppose like EC2 compatible pool I'll give. Resource pool name I'll give XYZ. Okay. Here what you have to provide is um, that access key pair. I mean it will be available in your you know with your cloud provider. So you have to get all those things and you have to give it here. So once you give everything, this can be added. Again, once you add it here, add. So again, it will come here. Okay. Um, did you get it? Any questions? Yeah. So once this is done, we need to install a container. So actually there are two containers, two types of containers. One is master container, the work container. So install container is there. If the container will be accessed via public IP, please enter it now. Otherwise say no. Yeah. So here you are having an option container type. So if you say container as a master, then it will be a master Aneka container. So the master node is a primary entry point of Aneka cloud. It hosts the scheduling engine and keeps track of all the resources and applications running on the cloud. Without master node, it is not possible to set up an Aneka cloud. Okay. So I'm installing it as a uh, master container. Maybe like if you want to add some more machines, and you can give all other machines as worker container types. The latest check on the container has not been successful, please. Okay, if you want to enable the secure communication, you have to give this secret key. Okay, right now I'm not giving that. Just say next. So persistence mode. So persistence mode means either you're having a relational database or in memory. So Aneka will keep all system and application data in memory. This data will be lost when Aneka service. I mean, all the information the Aneka will store. So you are giving it here in what way it has to store. In memory means it is all the information stored in memory. Once you close the application, everything is gone. If you are using a relation database, then all the information will be stored in the tables. So once you close the application, still the information is available, and as soon as the Aneka starts again, all the information will be fetched on the database. That is the meaning. I'll just say in memory. Yeah, here for this particular machine, you can give the cost. For example, I'll say 100 rupees per hour. So it is unit per hour. Then groups. I mean, if you want, you can group the things. Then software appliances. So for some of the video processing related things, graphics maybe applications might be required. So if the if customers applications require any of the applications, you can install in the this particular container. So for example, name cannot be empty. Okay, so all the existing things are available. For example, I can show you, these are the, see here, this Pore is there, Maya render is there, and convolution. These are the typical examples of a, applications where, you know we can use it here. Okay, so right now I'm not using anything. Enable failover. Okay, this is one of the important thing. So failover is something like, suppose like, this master node I'm selecting. If something happens, if all something happens and this particular node is down, then what will happen? Because this is a master node, it is controlling everything. So if something happens to the master node, then what will happen? For that purpose, what we are doing, we are giving enable failover. So this is the primary, I mean, we are giving backup master as well, so that once this particular node is down, so then this particular backup master will take a charge, and then it will start coordinating with other machines. So right now I'm not giving anything. Okay, I'm not enabling this. Yeah, I mean, what are the services it is providing? You can select, since it is a master node, I mean, all the services are applicable. If you don't want any of the service, then you can just unselect that. And you can see here, for example, resource provisioning service, what are the different options available. Then tasks scheduler, the algorithm selections FIFO, you can change the, you know to other algorithm. Then thread scheduler is there, or again it is a FIFO. Then map reduce is there. So I mean, all the configuration is given. Okay, I'm just selecting all the services and say next. See, this is the container. In all the settings related to container, it will give in a summary. So once you review that, then say finish. And once you provision some container, so those containers list is coming in provisioned containers, and maybe because of some reasons, some of the containers may be having issues, and no those are quarantined. So we can call it as quarantined containers. Then orphan containers means, initially they are part of the they are connected to this master container, but because of some reasons, it lost the connection. So we call those as orphan containers. Okay, any questions so far?
Yes, any more questions, guys? Yes.
No, sir.
Okay, yeah, now it got installed. So now see, this is coming in. This M indicates master. Okay, W indicates a worker. So it is a master container. Okay, maybe like if you add some more machine, I mean, I cannot showcase that. Maybe Pradeep sir, maybe students can experiment this. They can start adding. They can set up a master container, and and they can add some of the machines as well, and they can make those machines as worker containers.
So we'll give 1 week time to do that for the students
Yeah,
by
I
next
mean, as we
Friday.
discussed, maybe if they come, if we come up with some private cloud or something using this concept, then it's wonderful actually.
I will try to set up one private cloud,
Yeah,
giving one separate IP address from the a main server which can hold multiple applications. So
Yeah,
with that IP address, we can set up some cloud.
yeah,
I
yeah,
will talk to
yeah.
my network admin and
Sure,
get
sir.
back to you guys. Yes, sir.
Sure,
Yes,
sir. Sure, sir.
yes, sir.
So these are the basic, concepts and some of the information related to installation of Aneka. So maybe what we can do going further, so we can see like in how this thread programming, task programming, and map reduce things can be done on Aneka in the next class. So yeah, O- okay. See, this is a user management. I mean, it'll provide you. You can create some of the users who can access your master cloud or say worker cloud, all those things. That can be done using user management. Then reporting and accounting. Yeah. So what will happen, like, if you are having a cloud environment and many people will be using the cloud, and you need to know who is using, how much, how much of the resources he's using, and what is the cost, how much he has to pay you. I mean, all those things will be involved. Maybe if you go through AWS, GCP, there also, you'll find this information. I mean, billing information will be there, where the customer will get to know how much he has utilized the resources and how much he has to pay. All that information will be available here. Also you can see the utilization report. So CPU utilization, then storage utilization, how much he has used, then total billing based on the usage, like what is the billing, then accounting. I mean, at a resource level you can find all this information. Then if you want to clear the data, then you can clear it. Then here you can give the range um, between the dates. And suppose, like, if you want to know what is the CPU utilization between 1st of May to 31st of May, you can give the date range here. Then you'll get it here. Since it is newly installed, I know no information is available. And here summary is available. The maximum number of nodes used some point of time, minimum number of nodes used some point of time, then max CPU capacity, min CPU capacity, max memory, max storage, peak load, minimum load, peak load time, then minimum load time. And you will find all the information here. And here, you can find the cost by users or applications. So sometimes what will happen, one user might be using say some 10 applications. So that time you can get it for each application. And sometimes what will happen, maybe one application is used by several users. So you can get all the costs or billing information based on your requirements. Mm. Cannot show the system performance. Okay, I think It is not available as of now. So here you'll get all the statistics, number of CPUs nodes, number of running at any point of time. So what is the current status? So you'll get it here. I mean, if the graphs are available, this blue line is actually available thing, and red line is used, I mean usage. So you'll get it here. And once you install, I mean, if you find anything, I mean, if you're having any issues, this manual is available here. So all the information related to installation and all the explanation about the concepts is given in the manual. So you can very well go through this manual. Then online help is also available, and for troubleshooting, if you come up with any error or something, then Windows related you know error codes and explanation is there. Yeah, I mean, log setting. I mean, while application is running, maybe you'll get several logs. So all the logs you can store, in all the settings related to logs you can give it here. Yeah, sometimes what will happen, like you are having list of machines, and at one time you can give all the list using some file. So you can do it using import machine list, export machine list. I mean, the current machine, uh, for example, see, it will come like this. Here it is a local host, 9000 is a port, Windows the OS, group is default. So it will come like this. Then we have covered all pretty much everything, I guess. Yes, sir. Pradesh, sir, I'm done with the today's thing. Maybe if they don't have any questions, then we can discuss Aneka program related things next week. And as we discussed, they can experiment this thing in a